So I call him my quiet giant because he's kind of a little bit shy and a little bit quiet, but when he speaks, it is profound. And that's why he's a giant to me. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about the impact that it has. I truly believe that one of the greatest gifts that is given to each of children as they're born is agency, free agency to choose. And as I thought about why is this subject so, why does it reach us to our core? And for those that are survivors, why does it hurt so much? Why does it impact us so much? And I think it's because there's this inherent knowledge that that is our gift of agency to act and not be acted upon. And as as that is taken from children, they know that that is taken, a piece of them is taken because that belongs to them. That is their right. It's their right to choose. And and I think that's why it takes away from a little bit of who we are in that purity and that innocence of making our own way and finding our own destiny and our own choices. And and I think that that's where it comes from the inside. And as I talked about before, this is a physical costume or a physical being that houses something very sacred, and that is our soul. And and that's why we don't let others defile it, because that's where our soul is housed. And just as we have temples here in this beautiful land of India, there are things that we do out of respect for that house that houses our soul, that houses that spirit that resides within that temple. We take our shoes off as of respect as we walk into those temples. And with children and with our bodies, we need to be respectful and we need to honor this house that houses our soul and our spirit. And that's the why that we need to teach our children, of why that we keep our bodies sacred, why we care about our bodies and we keep them safe in a beautiful place where it houses our soul and we don't allow others to defile that. So let's talk about the other impact that happens. So in the United States, the financial lifetime impact of just 1 year of confirmed cases of child abuse cost the United States $124 billion in counseling resources, in addiction, in all sorts of social issues that take place because of the origination of child abuse, and things such as abuse of drugs and alcohol, teen pregnancy, mental illness, and poverty. All of those things can be that are impacted and increased because of child abuse. So there can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children. Okay, so before we play this clip, I want to let you know that there is hope. And there is hope, and there is something that's being done. And when you ask yourself the question, can one person make a difference? Can one person change something? Can you change something? Can you have an impact on your environment, what's going on around you? I would argue that yes, you can. And here's a demonstration of one person that's making an impact and making a change. Will you play the video, please?
I started off in the CIA and then went to the Department of Homeland Security, where they asked me to start a child crimes group. Initially I said, no, I can't do that. I got kids, I just can't imagine having to witness that kind of thing. My boss said, we need you to do this because this is so hard. You have a religious background that's going to give you the foundation so you can deal with this. I've been doing that ever since. Everything from child pornography to child trafficking to child sex tourism. Worked, domestic, overseas. A lot of cyber, computer crimes. The first case I worked was absolutely life altering for me. The case was there was a little boy who had been trafficked along with his sister back and forth from Mexico, and they were being raped by this monster. I was called down there to investigate this, and there's a video of this little boy being raped. The monster, like, he would take videos of it, and we had to watch it. That's one of the stomach turning things. You've got to watch it to find clues. Where is he? What's in the background? Is there anything we can identify? And I was one of the first on the scene, and this little boy jumps into my arms, and I have this moment with him where I'm just holding this little boy and, just crying with him. And he says to me, I don't belong here. Him and his sister, they believe that God would at some point intervene, at some point save them. And they had this necklace, and the sister, she gave it to him at the scene of rescue, and the scenes were kind of, the dust was settling. They realized that they were rescued, and actually gave me the necklace, and I wear this necklace. And I didn't even tell you, no one even knew this story my wife didn't even know for like 8 years. This is so hard for me to talk about. And I thought, can I do this? Can I possibly continue a job that forces me to see this again and again? And ultimately I decided that it was that experience that actually, instead of dissuading me, actually at the end encouraged me. And that's all I will do. That's all I'll do for the rest of my career, for the rest of my life.
Working for the United States government has been great, but they only let us get the children who fall within the purview of the United States, which takes out about 90% of the enslaved children of the world. We know where they are. I know where they are, but no one's looking for them. So it occurred to me, what if I left the government and was free to go after those lost children?
And that's how the Operation Underground Railroad runs. And again, when we're in a foreign government, we work with the foreign government. We come in the front door. We don't try to go behind their backs. We work with them. And we will do whatever we can. Go undercover for them. Let us come down and be the American faces that you need to make this sting operation work. The whole case for them. Deliver it to them on a silver platter. Let them take the credit. Let them be the heroes. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go after these bad guys, anywhere they are. We're going to find them. We're going to root them out. We're going to pull these kids out. And we're going to save some kids. Got him. And I'm
I'm telling you, and it's a world that I know I understand better than most people, but you don't even know how prevalent this is. Little kids this age being forced into sexual exploitation. Like, you have no concept of how real and how huge it is. How huge it is. There's thousands of people who do this, and they would love to get their hands on little kids like this and have them as objects. The same thing was happening in America and with slavery. You own people, you think you can do whatever you want with them. You know, there's thousands of images being downloaded every day, every second, of child rape videos. How old do you think those kids are? I've seen those videos. I've had to describe them. I've had to describe them before a judge, before a jury. I've seen hundreds of them, and they're this age, and they're this age. So this is, and I fear that people won't understand.
Because she doesn't look like a bad guy.
They never look like bad guys. I've arrested dozens of bad guys. None of them look like bad guys. They look like you, they look like me. They're not all bad. But at the end of the day, you can't traffic children.
No.
At the end of the day, there's laws put in place to protect kids, and one of those laws, surprise, surprise, is you can't sell them. You can't sell human beings and put a price tag on them. And that's what these two people did. Both of them did it. Both of them knew they were doing it. They didn't know who we were. They knew us for an hour. Had no idea who we were. If you guys were traffickers, you'd come in just like this.
So Abolitionists just came out across the United States in over 500 theaters on May 16th. It's a documentary about child sex trafficking, and it's very well done. It's rated PG-13 at an appropriate age so that you can actually bring teenagers to come and see it. And Tim Ballard is the gentleman that's in the film. He's actually from my state of Utah, where I live, and is an advocate of protecting children and has dedicated his life to that. And if you have an audience or you have a group of individuals that you believe that you may have an interest in seeing this documentary, where we could potentially have Tim Skype in, you could ask questions, we could have an interactive type thing. If you have a circle of influence where you want to show this film, I will have my contact information and I can help connect you with appropriate people to have as a resource. And they go in and train governments. And one of the things that I love what they do, they go on rescue missions but also train governments. But what I love is they actually teach them what to do. They use technology so that they can film the entire operation and the child never has to testify. They can hand over all the documentation and say, here's everything that you need to go ahead and prosecute and press charges. And they teach the local governments and partner with them to go in so that eventually they don't need to use them as a resource, that they can independently have the skills and the tools to be able to fight that independent in their own country. And so that's one of the things that I love about OUR, which is OUR, Operation Underground Railroad. And if we can go ahead